one of the things I wanted to kind of answer, there's a question that Eric asks in his book, and I'm not sure if he fully gave an answer or thought one could be given. He asks the question generally, why do people go through to such lengths to come up with these incredible stories, that the Ark has been found, the Ark of the Covenant with the Ten Commandments, for example, or Noah's Ark or whatever. And I think the answer, speaking as a person of faith myself, teaching in a Christian context, and a fairly conservative Christian context, I already mentioned the emotional investment that most people have, but I think the answer, intellectual, can be traced back to a book that G. Ernest Wright wrote back in 1952. I'm not sure if you cited the book in your own book, Eric, but you certainly are familiar with the book. It's entitled The God Who Acts. And in that book, it was written kind of on the onset of the God is Dead movement that hit this country, particularly in the 60s. And G. Ernest Wright was apparently confronting the early stages of that. And he points out in this book, he's somewhat writing about the ancient Hebrews, but also for the modern Christian community of his time, that for him, it was critically important that the central events, he called them, the central events of the Bible had to have happened. He saw the Bible basically has a reflection or maybe a collection of the stories of the magnificent works of God, and that this was the purpose of the Bible, and was absolutely critical to the faith of the ancient Hebrew community, and that had been inherited by the Christian community. If there was no Exodus, if there was no Mount Sinai experience where God gives the laws to humanity about how we should properly conduct ourselves, and for Christians, if there was no Christ event, the basis of the faith basically is demolished. And so when you talk about a lot of these issues, there's an awful lot of investment. An individual has thought about these. They've made all sorts of intellectual, psychological, religious commitments to these things, and it's very difficult to give those things up. So these can become very dear and near to a lot of people, and hence you see a lot of interest in the general community today.